Hi everyone, this is Pastor Jared again. Glad to have you back along with us. It is Wednesday, June the 24th. Sorry I couldn't get Tuesday's video up quite quick enough. We had some technical difficulties with it, so hopefully we'll have that up today. And who knows, you might actually have two new ones to look at today on YouTube or wherever you're at today. But first of all, thanks again for watching, and thanks again for reading along. It's kind of cool to know that there are other people that are with me that are doing this Bible study. It's a lot of fun when you do things together as Christians. And if you're not a Christian, you're more than welcome to come along and comment and throw some ideas out there too. There's nothing wrong with it at all. So, in fact, I encourage it. So, if you're interested in this, then by all means, please just join us. But anyway, today I'm going to be in Mark 10. And I wanted to share something with you that I found that was pretty interesting in Mark 10. And there's an issue that comes up with the disciples here, specifically the sons of Zebedee, or the sons of thunder, James and John, about who would be the greatest in the kingdom of God, and what it would take to be able to be highly thought of in the kingdom of God. You see, James and John, they're walking with Jesus, and Jesus is actually walking to Jerusalem for the last time. They're about to go through the triumphal entry in chapter 11. But what happens here is, while they're along this road, Jesus tells them and predicts his death again. And then James and John come to Jesus kind of quietly because they don't want the other disciples to know what they're going to do. But they come to Jesus and they ask him this question. They say, Jesus, when you enter your kingdom, when you go into glory, we want to ask you if one of us can sit on your left hand and one of us can sit on your right hand. In other words, James and John, they want a place of honor. They want to be honored as important, as special, as bigwigs in the kingdom of God, I guess. And so what happens is Jesus looks over at them, and first he asks them, do you first of all, he tells them, you don't know what you ask. Because if you want to be in that kind of place of honor, you're going to have to go through the things that I go through. He says it this way, are you able to drink the cup that I drink and be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with? And James and John look at each other and say, oh, yeah, we can do that. We've been following you all this time anyway. And Jesus says, well, you know what? That is true. You will be going through the things that I've gone through. You'll be going through persecution. And Jesus knows this, especially once they have to start the church once Jesus leaves. But then Jesus says something like this. It's very interesting. He says, but to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it is prepared. In other words, God has already got this all figured out. And it's not about wanting and trying to get close to Jesus to get this place of honor, because God has prepared it for certain people, and it's God's to give. And then Jesus says something else, because after this, the other 10 disciples hear what James and John have been asking, and they start grumbling. They start getting mad at James and John because they kind of went underhanded and wanted to talk to Jesus alone about it, well, and for obvious reasons. But this is what Jesus says in verse 42. He says, you know that those who are considered rulers over the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. Yet it shall not be so among you. For whoever desires to become great among you shall be your servant. And whoever desires to be first shall be the slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. And I started thinking about that. And I thought about how Christians are. As Christians, do we have a reputation of serving? Do we have a reputation of serving? I think it's a legitimate question. A lot of times Christians, we have a reputation for being activists almost. You know, we're against this and we're for this and those kind of things. And many of the things that we're against are biblically sound, and many of the things that we're for are biblically sound. But a lot of times we get so caught up in some of those issues that we forget that we are to be servants to the world as well. That if we desire to be great in the kingdom of God, and I believe every Christian ought to want to be great in the kingdom of God, ought to want to make a difference in their lives and in their communities and in their families and in their churches. But if we want to be great in the kingdom of God in God's eyes, Jesus said that we have to be servants. And why did he say that? He said because Jesus said that the Son of Man did not come to be served. Jesus did not come to this earth so that people could serve him, but he came to this earth so that he could serve a purpose for those people. He came to this earth to die for others so that they could live. Jesus came to serve, to heal the sick, to usher in the kingdom of God. He came to serve us. And so we are supposed to follow our rabbi's example. We are supposed to serve instead of expect to be served. And I think if sometimes people in our churches these days, and I'm not saying any specific church, my church certainly hasn't been that case so far that I've been here, but sometimes in churches, we expect people to serve us. We expect there to be, programs that we enjoy. We expect there to be this and that and the other. But as Christians, we are called to serve other people. So it's not about how much we can get, whether it's in church or whether it's in our family, our community, or whatever the case is. But it's about how much can we give to others so that they can see Jesus Christ in us and so that God's kingdom can be advanced. You know, folks, this is something that's hard for me to understand too sometimes. Sometimes I get caught up in it too. Sometimes I get caught up in saying, well, you know what? I've done a lot. You know, I've served and I've put a lot of time into this or that. It's really easy to say that too when you're a pastor because you're doing it all the time. But my thought process should not be, my thought process shouldn't be that it's important for me to sit back sometimes and receive and get and that kind of thing. It's okay to be ministered to, but if you aren't in turn ministering yourself, then there's a problem. I've heard one person put it as people getting spiritually fat, and that's true. You know, sometimes as Christians we can sit in the pews or sit in the chairs or wherever you sit in church and get spiritually fat and then not do anything. Receive and receive and receive. Receive music, receive teaching, receive inspiration. And just sit back and eat and eat and eat, and then we don't exercise our faith. It's the same with our faith as it is with our bodies. If we don't exercise after we eat, or, in turn, we'll get fat. If we don't exercise our faith after we receive spiritual food, we're going to sit back, we're going to become lazy, and we're going to be unproductive members of God's kingdom. Thanks so much again for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to hear from those of you that have been watching and commenting and that kind of thing. Thank you for doing that. You can find us on iTunes if you just search Pastor Jared. The videos will be up there as long as I can get them converted okay. And then you can also see us on the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/SuperPaintKirst, and that's where you can find all the videos and daily things like that. You can also reach us at our new website, lilychurch.com, Lily church.com, all one word. And you can email me at pastorjared@lilychurch.com. Again, pastorjared@lilychurch.com. Thanks again. Hope to hear from you soon, and God bless. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.